Hey guys, welcome back to Steve Basinger Fishing. Just want to do a quick video today of showing some of my favorite hollow body frogs that I use. So let's get into it. So when I'm talking about hollow body frogs, we're mostly breaking it down into three categories. We've got your typical hollow body frogs, like this one, where it's just got your more pointed nose, and is the type that most people think of when they're talking about a frog. It's best for mats and stuff. Then you have frogs that are stuck together. You have popping frogs, like this one. Obviously, popping's got the concave nose, just like a popper. I like these better around open water situations. And then my third isn't really a frog, but there's other types of baits that fit this. And these are your more bait fish style that are still hollow body. They still have the big giant frog hook. They work just like a frog. You know, they work in a lot of the same areas. These are the three kind that I use, and I'll get into these. Starting with the SPRO, or I'm sorry, starting with Poppin Frogs. Correction, starting with hollow body frogs. So the first one we're going to start with, this is the SPRO Bronze Eye 65. I like this mostly around mats, mostly around grass cover, something where a poppin' frog will get kind of, the nose of it would get kind of stuck in the cover. I like these a little better for that. These are a little easier to walk, and they're a little easier to skip than a poppin' frog. That's why I like these ones as well in open water when I want something just a little more subtle. If I'm throwing a poppin' frog and they're coming up and missing the poppin' frog, you know, around docks or just brush, isolated cover, stuff like that, and they're missing this, and I've tried color changes, retrieve changes, all that's not working, I like to go to one of these styles of frogs to go with something a little more subtle. It's worked out a lot this year for me, and I've really liked it. One quick tip with the SPRO, with the legs, don't mix these frogs with frogs of any other kind. So like I've got Terminators in here and Booyahs, stuff like that. Don't mix them, because when the something to do with these legs, the material they're made out of, when they get together, the SPRO it'll kind of lose its flexibility, and they get all kind of weird dangly like this. It still works fine. I haven't seen it affect the action, but it bugs me for sure. So this is my number one choice. I love the SPRO frog. It's my favorite. It's got a real stout hook, casts well, skips well, walks well. That's probably the most important thing with a frog. Nah, I'd say the hook is the most important thing. But walking, definitely second. However, my second favorite, which is quickly becoming my first favorite, is the Terminator walking frog. I believe these are both like half-ounce versions, roughly. But this one just feels heavier. Like when it comes off the rod tip, it just flings off a lot faster. Doesn't skip as well, but frogs are kind of difficult for me to skip anyways. Doesn't skip as well. Walks really easy. It walks really, really easy. It's also, if you look at them, it's a little bit thicker of a profile when you put them up next to each other. Just a little, not a whole lot. And what I've also noticed is that when they're in the water, the SPRO, when it's sitting still, it sits more straight down like this, which is what allows it to walk so well. Not this one, not the Terminator. It still stays pretty flat, yet it still walks really well. I don't know know why that is. Oh, I'm missing my weight. Well, so don't buy ones without weights in them, even though they shouldn't come like that. It's not going to work real well. Guess I need to make another run to a tackle shop. So then my next one, this is a Booyah Pad Crasher. I actually haven't used these a lot. I don't particularly like the way they cast because they just seem light to me, but they have a good hook on them, real flimsy legs. I typically trim the legs straight out of the package. I just trim off, I'd say roughly an inch, and then I may go more from there as the fishing goes. That kind of dictates what to do. Sometimes if you're having trouble getting them to walk, you can trim one leg a little shorter than the other. That'll make it walk a little easier. But what you want in a hollow body frog is you want it to be soft, so when a bass bites it, it collapses easily and you get to the hooks. The Pad Crasher is not quite as soft as a SPRO or that Terminator for that matter. However, it comes where, I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but there's a gap, a little bit of a gap between the body and the hooks. That will help with hookups really well. Makes it not so great in grass. It's going to catch a lot more stuff, or wood for that matter. But you can take your pliers, flex those in if you want. Your hookup ratio is going to go down a little bit, but you're not going to get snagged on quite as much weeds and stuff like that. So then this one, I've actually trimmed this one up a little bit, but this is the live target frog. Just like everything with live target, they make everything look as realistic as possible. So this has got the little legs and all that neat stuff that come off the front legs that come off. I trimmed this up a lot because I wanted a compact bait going over mats. There's more customization I like to do, but I didn't quite get to doing with this one. I'll like drill a hole and stick BBs and stuff in there and then glue it up so it makes some noise, sits down a little farther. I only do that for mats though. Anyways, I don't use this one a lot. I don't like how it walks. I don't like the hookup ratio on it. There's a whole lot I don't like about this frog. But when it comes to mat fishing, you're going to have a lot of misses anyways, because they got to come through the mat to get it. So that's why I kind of cut this guy up. So that brings us into poppin' frogs. I only have two kinds here. I'm sweating my butt off in here. I only got two kinds here. I got a SPRO poppin' frog. I think that's called a Bronzeye 2. And then I got the Terminator popping frog. I actually haven't used the Terminator one a ton, but so far I like it just as well as I like the Terminator walking frog. Just as soft. Obviously it walks really well. Can't really say it skips well because I haven't really tried. My one complaint that I've had in the couple that I've thrown is this hook wants to kind of roll out like this and stick like that often, just after a cast, especially after a skip cast. I don't know if that's just the couple frogs that I've owned, if that's just them. I need to do something to the hooks. I don't know. It's kind of annoying, but I haven't really been in good frog water to tell you if the bastards really like this frog. Then the other one, which is this is my main squeeze when it's came to frog fishing completely. I normally, if I'm not around mats, if I'm not around really thick cover, we're talking basically matted vegetation. If I'm around docks, isolated grass, isolated wood, I'm going with a SPRO poppin' frog. And this is the color I like too. This is bold bluegill or something like that. This is my favorite color. Typically when you're throwing a frog, you're either imitating a frog or you're imitating a bluegill. That's about it. In the areas that I live, it's mostly bluegills that they eat. So I really like this one. Of all the poppin' frogs, I think it skips the best. It doesn't have quite... you know what, maybe it's the same. I was going to say maybe it doesn't have quite the different, quite as beefy hooks as Terminator, but it does look like it does. About the same kind of hooks, same gap. That comes out of the package really tucked up against the body there, so you don't get snagged up as much. Obviously that affects your hookup ratio. Like I said, you can twist those out, change it up a little bit. But I don't do a whole lot to this bait straight out of the package. She comes ready to go, just like that. So that's about it for all the frogs. I'm tired of sweating my butt off. I will link all this stuff down below in the comments. I'll throw everything up for probably Tackle Warehouse, because who shops anywhere else? And that's about all. If you guys like anything else, you got any comments on these frogs, drop them down in the comments. Appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll see you guys on the water.